Now, class background is a barrier to opportunities in life, even among those who go on to develop successful careers. That's according to new research by the University of York.
But is class as significant a barrier to success as it once was? Today, you even get some people trying to pretend they're even more working class than they actually are. In fact, one candidate seeking selection as a Labour candidate in Sedgefield tried to ham up his working class credentials by boasting about his great-grandfather being a coal miner.
So how big a problem is class discrimination in 2022? Joining us to discuss this are Liz Brewer, behaviour and etiquette expert, and Dr Rakib Ehsan, a social policy analyst. Thank you both indeed for joining us. Liz, to start with you, is it still the case that people look down on people for how they sound and how they talk and where they're from?
I think absolutely not. You know, we live in a world today where if somebody's got ambition and they take the trouble to actually get out of bed in the morning and do something, they have every opportunity to get from there to wherever they want to go. It's education and it's actually having ambition. You know, people that keep complaining are those that really should be spending time directing themselves as to what they really wanted to achieve. And you get fed up with people saying, oh, you know, it's to do with your accent. It's to do with which school you went to. It's to do with who your father was. Not in today's world. We've sort of leveled up. If you've got the ambition and if you've got the determination to get there, again, it is very much who you know, but who you know is where you put yourself,
you do. But you do know better people in higher positions in society if you are of a different class or a different order.
Not necessarily. A lot of people around you could be those inherited wealth that aren't doing anything. You can actually jump over them and get forward. In today's world, you're recognised for your worth, for what you achieve in life. Who you are, what you're giving.
Let's bring in Rakib. Rakib, what do you make of what Liz has just said? Do you agree with her that actually it doesn't matter anymore about where people are from and how they sound?
It's a really good point when we're talking about social networks. I come from quite a traditionally working class community in Luton, and I would actually say that I was very well connected. I lived with people in my community who cared about my progress at school, college, university. We have civic assets in our community which provide a strong sense of belonging and rootedness. And that might not necessarily be in the case in middle class neighbourhoods, maybe economically affluent, but may not have those kind of civic assets. Of course, I do think that there are some forms of class discrimination. I actually think that came through after the Brexit vote, where I felt there was a great deal of sneering towards traditional working class communities who traditionally voted Labour but voted to leave the European Union. I think there's a great deal of class-based progressive sneering towards those kind of communities. I think more generally in our politics, I think that you have what I would consider to be a middle-class progressive layer within the Labour Party, which criticises the sort of high Tory upper-class traditionalists and working class Tories in that sense. So I do think that people should focus more on politics and policy as opposed to focusing on people's class backgrounds.
Do you think as well, though, this topsy-turvy world that now people are trying to ham up, as we were talking, their working class credentials, because that gives them authenticity, that shows they have strived. Do you think it works both ways? And people maybe who have been to Eton, who are well connected, people are saying, well, we don't want to offer you any more opportunities, you've had enough.
Well, I'd say that Britain fares very well when it comes to equality of opportunity. While there is more room for improvement in terms of fostering a more meritocratic society, I do think that we have a very high level of equality of opportunity in our country. The case you're referring to, Esther, was Alan Strickland, I believe, who's the Labour parliamentary candidate for Sedgefield. I just found it to be such a shame that he just couldn't focus on traditional working class concerns, whether it's education, employment, apprenticeships, as opposed to spending time talking about the background of those generations ago within his own family.
Liz, I was when you said that you know it doesn't really matter. I just wondered. I was thinking about all these people who have elocution lessons. Are they Are they throwing their money away then? If it doesn't make any difference and people don't make any judgments anymore, are all those people having them? And would you say to people that you shouldn't be having elocution lessons? It's a waste of money.
You have to be understood. And to be able to be understood, you have to be able to articulate your words.